Everybody, give you a few minutes to join me here. So I don't know how long I am going to be able to do this because I am getting tired really fast. I'm getting very tired very fast. Maybe that's because I have an audience of vampires. Oh, in fact, I think I need an accessory here. I'm just going to grab one here while I wait for y'all to come out of your crypts. So, Sun Pluto today. There's a few variations of the laugh. I know you all, but you don't. That's why you're here. You do partially. If you're here, then you're probably not all lost. You're probably not beyond redemption, like some Sun Pluto, some Mars Pluto people are. Or you would think. Astrology was bullshit. I was bullshit. Half of you probably, 50% of your personality probably does. And if you catch me with an inconsistency, you ain't never coming back. So, I know you listen closely because you all have trust issues. So, Sun Pluto contacts. I'm missing a hairless cat. If I did have one, then I'm sure I would use it. So, yeah. Sun Pluto contacts can lead to the most powerful transformation or the most powerful destruction. And we will likely experience some of both in our life. So these are complex aspects to interpret. Mars aspects to Pluto, Sun aspects to Pluto are complex to interpret because you have to look at the qualities of the identity, the Sun, to see, does the person with these aspects identify as a victim or an aggressor, or do we have a 50-50? So with the conjunction or the opposition, we will identify more than 50% each way which one we are. Are we the one that is the go-getter? Are we the strong one, the winner? Or are we the one that is gotten? Are we the weak one? If we have the square, we can experience more of a 50-50. Sometimes we can get the 50-50 with the opposition. But look at the Sun. If the Sun is in more of a dominant sign, if it's in a masculine sign, if it has outgoing, extroverted, young qualities or more aggressive qualities, you're going to have the aggressor identity, the masculine identity, the proactive identity. If the Sun is in Pisces, if it's in Cancer, Libra's funny. It's a passive sign, but it's funny. You can get 50-50 in Libra. But it depends on the person. Sometimes it can be more one way or the other. Virgo, we do tend to experience more of victimization. or a being on the receiving end, because it is more of a diminutive sign. So look at the identity. No, the signs of Pluto don't matter. Pluto signs are generational. They're showing the qualities of a particular generation when it comes to what are they, what is the collective crap that they're passing on and rising up out of, changing out of. What are the collective themes when it comes to degeneration and regeneration? Regeneration and degeneration are central themes with the Sun Pluto contacts. And we will experience both. And the thing about Sun Pluto stuff is that the kind of transformation that really needs to happen in order for somebody to not be eating themselves alive, that's what happens with these things. We sabotage ourselves in certain ways. We keep ourselves from winning in certain ways, even though we're driven to do that. We play Plutonic games with ourselves. See, we're playing that with other people too. But the nature of Pluto games is that you cannot win because it's the karma cycle. And the karma cycle is never ending. It's the wheel of samsara. The samsara is nirvana. And you might understand that when you finally grow out of these contacts. So authenticity, realness, the truth, ego games, these are central themes. Dominance, submission, having a powerful ego. We have entitlement problems with the hard, untransmuted aspects. And the ego structure is such that we're okay with feeling entitled. We have a lot of reasons for that just being the way things are. These stories that we have with Sun Pluto contacts are not as raw or as caveman like or as basic or as dumb with Mars Pluto contacts. Mars Pluto contacts is like a caveman. Sun Pluto is a vampire. It's entirely more sophisticated. How we act on the Plutonic traumas in our life. So the ego games we play with ourselves, the stories that are born out of a poor self-image with the hard aspects. With the easy aspects, depending on how right we are with our conscience, we may have transmuted that poor self-image quite early on in life, and can have more success when it comes to dealing with our crap. It doesn't mean that we don't have Plutonic themes in our life, but we're not sabotaging ourselves, or we're not as experiencing as many re-traumatizing events. And basically, we're not poisoning those around us with our pain, with the easy aspects, or as much. The trying we can. The trying we can be a real bastard if we don't figure out how charming we are, or how we wield our power, or how easy it is to get people to do things. We don't really appreciate that and take responsibility for that and use that wisely. Because the thing is with Pluto power, and when it's in contact with the sun particularly, that you don't own that. You don't own Pluto power. See, we think that we do. We're mistaken. We're in big trouble if we think that we do, or should, or could own Pluto power. That's where we get into real trouble with Sun Mars stuff. You are channeling it. It is to be shared. You are a steward of Plutonic power. And if you pervert that into your own coffers, or into your own personal gain, or your own personal or sexual enrichment, we have big trouble. This is bad karma. This is the proverbial vampire. And the nature of Sun Pluto contacts is that some of us don't know that we are a vampire. Some of us do. If you have the opposition, you might know, at least half the time. We can get glimpses of it with the conjunction when it's unalchemized. We can get glimpses of it. With the square, we might know. It can become extremely conscious with the square. We fucking hate that in us, and we hate that in other people too. But I respect the square wholly more, I gotta tell you, than I do with the other hard aspects, because of how much energy is consistently directed both towards our inner stories and our outer stories. We can burn through our victimization stories faster and deeper with the squares. The quintile also can be a bit of a bastard to deal with, because quintiles infuse charm. It brings more of the glamoring that you get with Sun Pluto stuff, and they know they do it. And to the degree that they don't control it, or they don't channel it through their own agreement with their willpower, they have to choose it. If we don't choose to be above board of our own free will, we are creating and seeding more Plutonic problems. Because the thing is with Pluto, it kind of turns into a successful Sun-Saturn aspect or conjunction when it's really worked with well. Because we police ourselves with the Sun-Pluto aspect. And we might do that some of the time to a high degree. But there's a part of us that, until we come into full self-respect, we will get away with whatever we can get away with. And most untransformed Pluto people, they wear that, they see that as a virtue. Mars, Pluto too. If I can get away with it, well, I should get away with it. We have a problem with boundaries and barriers. With the hard aspects, we can come to very much respect that and work within that boundary and that framework with the easier aspects, because we understand how to appropriately use our libido, our power, our influence. So we have less of the self-sabotage that we have to work through. The ego does not transform until it's strong enough with these Sun Pluto hard aspects to allow the Plutonic information in. We have to come to a place where we can, where the self-esteem and the self-appreciation, the self-love is strong enough, is full enough to allow the knowledge of our bastard side in, or else it will consume us. And it transforming out of these hard aspects is very much like farting in bed. This is going to be a crude lesson, babies. You're farting in bed, and maybe you're with somebody you really like, and maybe you haven't been with them very long, and what do? Just let it out just a little bit at a time. You don't want to let it all out at once, because it's just going to be too much. And so these hard aspects, we fart in bed. There's a fart bubble under there. We know it. We're being really careful just to let it out a little bit at a time. And we want you to get used to it too. Kind of like the frog in the pot, which is actually not a true story at all. The frog, if you boil a frog in boiling water, they will jump out. But it's a good story for illustration. You're very much like the frog in the pot if you're living with an untransformed Sun Pluto or Mars Pluto person. You can be the strongest frog in the room. You can have the best self-esteem, the healthiest self-perspective, the healthiest boundaries. And over the course of time, if you're living with an untransformed Sun Pluto or Mars Pluto person, they will break you down. And you have to be very careful about the level and amount and type of exposure that you have, because devaluation, tests, hiding behind a facade, and triggering you in ways that show who you are while they hide. This is all part of their tactics. And this is their definition of authenticity. They think they are the most authentic people. They are. They really do think that. They don't understand what authenticity is. Authenticity is not calling bullshit on other people. Authenticity is not triggering people in such a way that we can see what's really underneath what they're trying to show us. Authenticity is vulnerability and transparency, which you don't believe anybody really has. Do you? You don't think it's real. You think we're all just selling a lie, getting rich off of this idea of authenticity. But nobody's really real. We just like to say we are. You know what? You're the one that's full of shit. That's the secret. You think everybody's full of shit. You think everybody's a cheater. You think everybody is just putting on a show just for you. Because you're that important. The rest of us care so much. Yeah. So, how much life force are you going to dedicate to actually figuring out who the fuck you are? Or how much life force are you going to dedicate to hiding who you are from yourself so you continue to take the easy way out? It's different for everybody with these aspects. If we're cheating, if we're lying, if we're not Helen, Helen's the best example of a Sun-Pluto conjunction. She's got it in Scorpio. You should follow Helen's page. Follow her on Instagram or Facebook. Helen, put your info up here. You're an example of what health is. Helen has decided to choose her health. Helen has decided to let go of her burden. Helen has decided to heal. Helen is going to beat cancer. We are the survivors. In a nuclear war, you know who's left? Cockroaches, rats, and Sun-Pluto people. You can survive anything if you can survive the truth of how you burden yourself, and then you stop doing it. You work too hard. You do everything too hard. You make everything too hard. Everything. We probably don't work too hard with the opposition. We might find ways for other people to do our work, unless we identify as the victim side. And then we're definitely doing our work and other people's work too. With the conjunction, we both want people to work for us, and we might do other people's work and really work hard too. It can be a mix of things. And sesquiquadrate. We definitely think people are bullshit with the sesquiquadrate. We have that same Pluto look where we show up, not always with the conjunction, but sometimes. But with most Pluto aspects, not really so much the sextile. We might with the trine. With the hard aspects, we show up like this. Are you bullshit? You bullshit? We'll see. And to the degree that you see it in others is the degree that it exists in you. So you have to decide how much energy are you going to dedicate to running your game, and how much energy are you going to dedicate to seeing your way out of your game? Because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy of will to stop being an asshole and being a cheat and taking the easy way out and telling ourselves differently. So some people make a startling transformation with these aspects after they've come to realize either they've been supporting people who don't deserve it or taking from people who didn't deserve it. It depends on which end. And then you start taking responsibility for your own energy. So you're not a vampire that feeds off of others, or you're not the source where vampires are allowed to feed off of you. And we might be 50-50. Depends on what your story is about yourself. We usually had a humiliating father. We couldn't get away from his eye with Sun Pluto aspects, and the stories are interesting. Often it was either like an overtly narcissistic father or often mother with Sun Pluto, but usually we're talking about father aspects here with Sun. Or it was like more overtly punishing father with the opposition. The conjunction, their stories are interesting. It's almost like they justify it. Like, yes, he was a strong figure, a punishing figure, but it was his way of showing strength or showing love, or this is part of the covert nature of hiding their suffering and their trauma from themselves. The family stories are very interesting because when we have a lot of Pluto to personal planets, we are like the toilet of the family. I know that's rough, but if you got it, you're gonna agree with me. You know how this feels. We're like the generational toilet. Because Pluto is all the crap. It's all this pain, it's all the suffering, it's the collective sewer. And some of us have more crap in us than others because we have experienced more trauma. We've experienced more pain. We were maybe born at a time where our parents experienced more stress in their life than other siblings, or we had, we have our reasons for being more crap filled than others. And as Sun Pluto people, when we're untransmuted, when we haven't gotten through it, when we aren't safe from ourselves, we still have a self-concept on some level, at least, that is in the toilet. And it rules our decisions. So we can be disempowering, disrespectful, we don't respect boundaries. In fact, with Mars, Pluto, and Sun Pluto, and Mars Pluto is more overt with this. Sun Pluto is ever more glamorizing with it. They think your boundaries are fake because theirs are fake. Their identity is fake but they believe it's real. They believe they're the most real person in the room. You're bullshit. But the identity is fake because it's based on trauma. It's a mask. This is why they're not vulnerable. This is why they don't have the openness. This is why they're leading with trust issues. If you're not coming from a Plutonic self-concept, you're not coming from a suspicious place. You're not coming from a lack of trust. But that's all they see. So we have to come to a place where we're ready to lay down some of those stories. And we have to look at how we have not been respectful ourselves and how maybe we have burst through boundaries. And so it depends on how toxic you are, how unhealed you are, the kind of boundary problems that you'll experience, because there's codependency, there is threads of narcissism in people's personalities that have Pluto problems. It doesn't matter what the Pluto aspect is. I mean, what the planet is. Whatever planet that is, it's an aspect of Pluto. It's suffering. And you can't have narcissism or selfishness if there's not a basis of suffering. There's pain. There's reasons why people are not real. There's reasons why they are in a place of defense. So if you are treating people from that place of defense and of suspicion, you're not seeing what's real. But you'll tell yourself you're the only one that can see what's real. You're the only one that can see the truth. So we have to lean into vulnerability and trust and come out of these foundational concepts that are born out of growing up in an environment where we had every right to be suspicious. We had every right to make decisions based on defense. These were unsafe places that we came from. And we don't leave our coping strategies and our stories about life and our pain and suffering at the door when we leave home. It all comes with us to inform us about the rest of the world and everybody that we come into contact with. So yeah, on the very, very toxic end, the really blind end of Sun Pluto aspects, you do get that same blowing through people's boundaries because you again don't believe that they're true. And with men that are very driven to win, they're they can't stand the thought of not getting the prize. The ego is not is going to throw a fit if it doesn't get what it wants. And so unlike Sun Mars stuff, which is more straightforward, Sun Pluto goes underground to get what it wants. It tunnels under. And if you can get what you want from tunneling under, getting there first, finding a way through the barrier, maybe crashing through it, going over, under, whatever. Because we can see people's weaknesses with Sun Pluto stuff. We can see that. We can smell blood in the water. and we'll use it to our advantage. Because we can see the trauma. We can see the weaknesses. And what's funny about Mars Pluto people and Sun Pluto people, they'll end up screwing himself really bad in one way that is so good for the rest of us. Because when they hurt you, it causes you to heal. And you'll heal in such a way that you'll surpass where they were. So it's kind of like they inoculate us. They usually don't believe in vaccines, though, because, there's things that can't be proven. But they do inoculate us against people like them. The unhealed Pluto people. The healed Sun, Pluto, and Mars, Pluto people heal us. And they don't kill us and then leave us bleeding, and then we have to do the hard work of healing ourselves. They use their transformative power in a transformative, regenerative, positive way only, because they understand what they can do. They understand they're attractive. They understand they're magnetic. They understand they're strong. They understand they're capable. They understand they're psychic. They understand that they can understand you. They understand that they can even make you do things if they want to. And they will not hurt you, even though they know they can. You can trust them because they trust themselves. And this is what the healed Sun, Pluto, Mars, Pluto contacts lead to, is we trust ourselves and not to prey on those that we know we can get away with it with. So that's why they're bullies. When they come out of that place, so they can trust themselves enough to come along somebody that's weak or disadvantaged or available, and they control themselves, and they contribute, elevate that person rather than take from or contribute to that person's suffering. That's a healed Pluto person. It's a healed Sun, Pluto, Mars, Pluto person. And you do have a tremendous amount of creative and sexual power with Sun, Mars, and Sun, Mars, Pluto contacts. And most unhealed people waste it. That's why they're very promiscuous. They're always promiscuous, the unhealed people, unless it's women, if they're unhealed. And then they might never, hardly ever have sex because they're very, very afraid of having energy stolen from them or pleasure stolen from them. There's an idea that, predators are out there. And the Sun, Mars, Pluto men, or masculine figures, are the predators that are at the gate, that are just gonna break that door down. And the Sun, or Mars, Pluto people, feminine figures, women, they're what you identify as, are the ones that are inside quaking in their boots. I just know they're going to break down the door. And so there's this difference in how we interpret these aspects depending on what you are in life, what you identify as male or female, predator or prey. But yeah, these are the sexiest people in the solar system. They are. They are the sexiest motherfuckers you will ever meet. The unhealed ones in particular, incredibly steamy and attractive, and they are good in bed. They will melt your mind. But that's all they got because they're players. They're vampires. I mean, that's like the repertoire. That's all they got. They can't treat you well. They can't support you. There's no consistency. There's no real love. There's no emotional connection. It's just dick. It's just good dick. And so with hard unhealed aspects from Sun, Mars to Pluto, those men or goal-posting masculine women with unhealed aspects will want to get you addicted to the sex. They're love bombers. They'll come in hot and fast and love bomb you. And that's what they're relying on in order to establish the connection, because they're cheaters. They want to get there first. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to respect your boundaries. They're not willing to get to know you. They don't value you as a person or as an individual. That doesn't matter. It's about getting to the goal. It's about winning. So they don't have the capacity for love. And there is a certain percentage of Mars Pluto people, or particularly Sun Pluto people, because this is a more complex ego story to penetrate. There is a large percentage that will not transform, particularly with a very close conjunction or an opposition. They are not going to change. The ego is impenetrable with some people with these aspects. It's going to create too much of ego injury to see the extent of the truth about their choices. And so they will necessarily have to hide from themselves. Everybody with Sun Pluto aspects hides from themselves. The people with the easy aspects come out of it earlier in life, but everybody's going to go through some kind of shame issues here. You have to transform out of those shame issues. You have to be in a position where you can allow yourself to be seen. You can allow yourself to be known. And when you're there and you can be honest about who you are, and not your fake honesty. Not your fake honesty, your triggering honesty. You're being vulnerable. That's when we get the enrichment that we're lacking. with these unhealed easy aspects. We'll never get to keep what we make. We'll never get to be really rich with these unhealed hard aspects if we haven't dealt with our shame. Because we'll find ways to allow our energy to be wasted or stolen, or it'll be leaked away, and we will remain in poverty. It's either stolen or we waste it. Which is so interesting, because with the conjunction, we want to be the generators. We want to be the provider. And we can be. We can be. But to the degree that we are also a scoundrel is the degree that the money is taken, leaks away, it's wasted in some way. We don't get to keep it. So some people are extremely disciplined. And it's an interesting thing, these Sun-Pluto contacts. They can be very disciplined in some areas of life. And in others, where their shame issues lurk around, particularly their sex lives, dominance, submission, relationships, that's when the beast emerges. And this is why people with these contacts, they can be capable of some pretty nasty things in their personal lives, especially interpersonal relationships, especially the conjunction, the quintile, not so much the opposition or the square, or the trine even. The blind spot exists almost exclusively in their interpersonal or sexual relationships, or where there's some kind of money or material exchange. They can be overwhelmingly successful in all of their areas of life. And so this is why nobody will believe you when you're like, I'm dealing with, somebody that's beyond help, or they're very, when they deal with me, they're very devaluing, they're very narcissistic, they're very unmovable, you will not be believed. Because in all other areas of life, they can be extremely effective. They're hitting at home, except at home. So people have to decide if they want what comes easy. With Mars, Pluto, particularly Sun, Pluto, do you want what comes easy? Because I know you work hard, but at the same time, you're doing things. Or you're getting things easy. And that's not in concert with your identity of being somebody that works hard and strives and nothing comes easy. Do you see? Do you see? Do you see? The devil leaks out sideways with Sun, Pluto, hard contacts, and the trine, if it's unmanaged. Because with the trine, we don't have any problem getting what we want. But is it what you want in other people's best interest too? How much of it? And what about your idea of just skimming a little off the top? Just cutting a little corner. The taxpayers won't even notice. I'm out of town. I'll just have this date with this one woman. How's she even gonna know? Cutting corners. So you're not healed with Sun Pluto contacts in your chart unless you do the right thing when nobody's looking. Because you know you don't. You don't, you scoundrel. And then you laugh to yourself. Because you got away with it. Oh. That's another thing. People with the really hard contacts that are struggling with their morality issues or with their unrestrained libido, uncontrolled drives, is that when you confront them, they will laugh at you. You will not get a sense. Maybe you will later after they sleep on it. Maybe, but it could take decades, and don't count on it. When you bring it to their attention that, hey, you haven't been honest with me, or hey, you've been trying to trigger me in ways that are unfair, so you can see what I'm made of, and you haven't been sharing, and they'd have no problem with that. No problem. Because to them, that's normal. Weren't you doing that too? I thought we were both playing a game. That's what everybody does. Everybody's dishonest. Identity's just a joke. It's just bullshit. Which is a deeper truth. You're right about that. It is bullshit. But it's not your job to destroy people's egos and identities. It's not up to you. You're not entitled to decide who is strong enough and to reveal them for what they really are, so that they know what they're really made of, so you can know. It's just ego games, and hurting people, humiliating people, so that you can justify having truths that make you feel better about the situation, and you can hide and be a liar and a hypocrite and have an advantage, and tell yourself it's just part of the game. I got good game. Thing is, you ain't never going to grow out of the karma game. And the wheel keeps turning as sands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. So you're going to get serious? Or you're going to keep hiding? You're the only one who gets to decide. Because it's willpower that makes the difference. Conscious direction of willpower. Nobody can make you do it. It's nobody's job but yours. And if you don't want it bad enough, it ain't going to happen. You have to want it. You have to want to know. You have to want to know what you are. You have to want to be aware of your wolf. With Sun, Pluto, hard aspects. And with the easy aspects too. But we are more consciously directing the willpower towards seeing it, befriending it, and subduing it. You can only do that with your own conscious willpower. If you leave it up to the town, if you leave it up to others, if you leave it up to bringing extremes out of others, which we can do with Sun Pluto stuff, so they'll show us who we really are and what we're really like. We only see the worst of everybody. And we just keep seeing what we've always seen, the worst of everybody. And the stories never get better, and our lives never improve, and we just keep abusing and being abused. So you've got to come up out of those trust issues first before you see a difference. You cannot wait for the world to start becoming puppies and rainbows and kittens so that they prove themselves first. And now you can be vulnerable. Now you can trust. Now you can have safety because everybody else transformed. And it's cotton candy and rainbows and crack-filled ice cream cones. The world ain't going to change before you do. It can't. Because everywhere you go, there you are. Do you want to live in a world of suffering? If you don't, give up your suffering. You want to live in a world full of cheaters? Well, stop cheating. You won't see cheaters everywhere anymore. You want to live in a world where people want to share with you instead of take from you? Then look at your concepts around giving and taking. Are you unselflessly giving? Or are you selfishly taking? So you can't control and demand that other people heal and do and respect you first and everything first. We want that with these hard Pluto aspects. We're demanding. Hey, Charles, we're talking about Sun Pluto aspects today and giving them all a little tongue lashing here. So what are you going to give up so that you can gain? Because we gain a lot when we give up our burden, when we give up our crap, when we give up our stories, our bullshit, our reasons for why we should have more power, we should have more resources, we should have more of everything. And we become a good steward of what we can attract and make use of, and we can help others more correctly make use of and grow what they attract. We can be a wizard at that, helping other people grow and maximize their own wealth, assets, holdings. Even, if we're still working through some things, we can be a real whiz. We could be good with maximizing whatever we do have. And with the easy aspects, we're really, really good at making a lot out of nothing. We can make $1 stretch a lot more than most people can. Because we come to understand what's really worth having, not having. And we understand how to grow what we keep. So we come from being intensely caught up in the appearance of things. All that glitters is gold, Sun Pluto unhealed. And then we come into only wanting, managing, cherishing, and owning what is actually valuable, what's really good for us. So we go from more is more to less is more. And we appreciate what appreciates us, because we want to push that away with unhealed Sun Pluto stuff. We don't believe that what we want wants us. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because we have to work hard. We have to strive. We have these stories about unrelenting denial. And because we're a vampire, we must seduce what we want. So when things come easy to us, gifts appear in our life, serendipity, we're very suspicious. And we might even find a way to push it away, because there's probably something, there's probably like razor blades hidden inside that cake or something. When, sometimes things can be easy, especially when we start cruising, we start living honestly, we start living lightly, we start being really in tune with the Tao. Things become really effortless and easy. And that may be something that we believe in books. Yeah, people believe in, the Tao. I'm totally into the Tao. Look at me. I'm so into the Tao. But I'm a Sun Pluto person. It's just bullshit. And then we can go through a transformation. Be like, oh my God, it's real? It's real? I thought everybody was just putting on a show. I thought we just showed up here and we were all sitting out and meditating, talking about enlightenment because it's real? I was only studying this because it looked good. I thought this made money. I thought this was like a lucrative thing. That's why people were doing this. Is what I would do. Oh my God, it's real! They just can't believe it. But no, yeah, there is real authenticity in the world. There's real vulnerability. There's real realness. Come to find out. And when you let that in and you believe in that, you got to let go of your Pluto stories, which means you got to let go of a lot of power. You have to let go of a lot of ways that you trigger people's shame, make people do things, use your anger, use your suffering, use your weakness. Get out of things. You got to give all that up. You got to give up your weakness and come into actual strength. Because if you're acting from a place of the hungry ghost, suffering, seeing bullshit or fear or skepticism in everything, it's you're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself. So stop seeing yourself as a cheat, so you'll stop cheating yourself. Come into your wholeness. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You didn't know better at the time. When we know better, we do better. That's the demarcation point of Pluto healing. I don't think that we should get out a guillotine. I don't think that we need to whip ourselves. I don't think that we need to pay a penance for the next 50 years. I think that we just need to say, you know what, the buck stops here. I'm done. I'm done. It can be as easy as that. You don't need to do anything more than that. You don't even need to make your apologies, because your apology is changed behavior. That's going to make the people that you hurt feel real good. They're going to feel like they got their payback. Because you changed your behavior. Changed behavior is the best proof of love that there is. Ain't nothing better. So I'd like to take questions, but I think that's all I got. Starting to wear down. So I may come in tomorrow. I will make a goal, which I don't know that I'll keep because it depends on how I feel. But I'll make a tentative goal to come in tomorrow and we can talk more about this, and I will take some questions. Okay. Yeah, Sun NC, this live will be saved. All right, guys. I will probably see you tomorrow.